ahead now, 46 days after President Muhammadu Buhari commenced his second term in office. He's yet to form a cabinet.
And President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, had suggested last week that President Buhari will forward to the National Assembly a list of his nominees for ministerial positions. He later stated that he was misquoted by the press when the week ended without the presentation of any list. Though there is no constitutional provision specifying when a new administration should appoint ministers, the need to hit the ground running, especially in these times when security and economic issues bedevil the nation, cannot be overemphasized. Let's get fresh perspective. Joining us now via Skype from London is political analyst Gbola Oba. Good morning, Mr. Oba. Talking about this ministerial list now, we just might see the list emerging this week or before the month is over. But what for you would make up for the expectations from many that the list should have actually emerged earlier? What would make up for this delay?
Nothing can make up for the delay. And the fact that some people want to be rationalizing the delay is very disturbing. We must realize that in the next couple of days, the National Assembly, the two chambers of the National Assembly will be going on break, 2-month break. And in view of that, it is indeed going to be a bit cumbersome for the Senate to reconstitute itself if the President presents the names even this week, because the Senate and the House of Representatives should be going on break in the next couple of days. And we know that Senate's activities appertaining or as it concerns approving ministerial nominees is not something that is done in a jiffy. It takes time, it takes days, sometimes weeks. And for the President not to have nominated, not to have sent the names of those he is nominating to the senators at this juncture is very, very disturbing.
Do we then advocate rather, or on the long term now, for Nigeria itself to create or get to the point where the system runs by itself, the system, the ministries, the parastatals and co now run really on itself now without actually getting to a point where it's when you have the minister or somebody heading that parastatal that, you know, we can have some form of progress, development and necessary actions that need to be taken?
If you look at the physiology of an average human being, the head, when you look at the size, relative to other parts of the body, is relatively small. But the head consumes minimum of 60% of the blood in your system at any point in time because you have the brain there. Political leadership is different from bureaucratic leadership or indeed bureaucratic existence. We are not saying that the PAMSECs do not have roles to play. The permanent secretaries do not have roles to play. We're not saying that the cadres of civil servants don't play responsible and indeed vital roles. We are saying that that leadership that defines vision, direction, that leadership that defines mission in a ministry cannot be discountenanced. And there is a reason why there are defined roles for the Federal Executive Council in our Constitution. So any president who is worth the title in gold must recognize the importance of not only speedily appointing ministers or quickly sending the names to the Senate, but the early formation of his Federal Executive Council would instruct how expeditiously it tackles issues that ought to be tackled.
Right, and
The president is giving the impression of somebody who is laughing at his task.
And
We have to be,
the party, through the publicity secretary, Gbola Oba, has also, gone on to say that give the president credit, and again, it's also his prerogative now to determine the kind of people that he will eventually bring on in his cabinet, keeping these names close to his chest. There's also the issue of, trying to prevent undue political influence. This will be our final answer now. Just tell us, give us your take now in this area.
Because it is his prerogative to decide who he wants or those that he wants, or because he wants to be discreet about how it comes about, writing that list does not say that it should. Look, Nigeria went into economic recession for the first time under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, when it tarried too long to constitute the Federal Executive Council in his first term as elected president.
Okay.
And you know what? Having acknowledged that could have been one of the factors, then it should be incumbent on this gentleman to speedily
Gbola Oba, many thanks for your analysis. We appreciate. 46 days after President Muhammadu Buhari commenced his second term in office, well, he's yet to form a cabinet.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, had last week suggested that President Buhari will forward to the National Assembly a list of his nominees for ministerial position. He later stated that he was misquoted by the press when the week ended without the presentation of any list. Though there's no constitutional provision that specifies when a new administration should appoint ministers, the need to hit the ground running, especially in these times when security and economic issues bedevil the nation, cannot be overemphasized. Joining me via Skype now from London is political analyst Gbola Oba. Gbola, it's good to have you join us on TVC Breakfast. Now, some Nigerians have started recommending that there has to be a legislation to specify time frames to which any chief executive, whether the president or governor of a state, should put his cabinet together.
The 8th Assembly tried to put together a legislation in that respect, but because of the animosity between the 8th Assembly and the presidency under President Muhammadu Buhari, that bill could not gain the currency of a prima facie legislation. So I am one who believes that it's about time the legislature, especially this present 9th Assembly, that has at least an ostensibly good relationship with the presidency, repackages the bill for it becoming law.
All right. Some others have said that whether there are ministers or not, ministries are statutory, and certainly there are institutions, and the president should be able to work with the permanent secretaries. But how much can permanent secretaries do when it comes to driving the idea and program of government awaiting the appointment of ministers?
The fallacy in that reasoning, indeed, the intellectual hollowness of that reasoning, is the fact that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria recognizes an institution as part of the policy-making process of the federal government. And that institution is called the Federal Executive Council. And the Federal Executive Council is exclusively made up of ministers and other executive appointees of the president. Permanent secretaries are not executive appointees of the president. They are career specialists who rose to that positions as a result of their professionalism. So anybody who is positing that agreement must lack the functional understanding of our extant constitution. There is a limitation to what the permanent secretaries can do in view of the roles ascribed to the Federal Executive Council by the Constitution.
All right. In 2015, the president had said that he didn't know many of those who became ministers, as they were recommended for him. But this time around, he wants to do it differently. He wants to consult wide to be able to come up with a list of persons that he knows have what it takes when it comes to pedigree, when it comes to skill, when it comes to experience, to run to be part of those who will run his government. But when it comes to knowing people, how the Constitution has also specified that
a point of correction.
Yes.
He said, what I read is that he said in 2015 he didn't know many of the people he appointed. It was the party that the party and people who recommended them to him. He says, but now I want to appoint those that I know. How long does it take to appoint those that you know?
All right, that's a big question. But that is why he has also said that he's consulting wide, you know, to be able to do the appointment. And these are the things that Nigerians are really expecting to see. But what would you expect when it comes to the caliber and the pedigree of those who will make the list? What's your expectation?
Look, last time it took 6 months, he said, because he was consulting. He has won the election, his re-election. He won almost 3 months before he was sworn in. He's been sworn in now for more than 1 month. Look, a body as respectable as the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, that is the agglomeration of professional bodies in Nigeria, the lawyers, the bankers, the accountants, doctors, professional bodies. They came together and say, you know what? The delay in the composition of the cabinet will inevitably negatively affect the economy. What else do we need?
All right. All right. So I'm afraid we have to leave it here now, Gbola Oba. Thank you very much for talking to us and giving us insight into this. Thank you so much.